What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Our parts came in from Tech Performance. We're going to be installing our clutch master cylinder today, so let me show you what we got. Alright, so here's our clutch master cylinder. Came from Tech. Very nice piece. It comes with the master cylinder, then it's a two-piece setup. This is our rod, and it also came with some zip ties to tie up the line when we're done. So let's get to work. Alright guys, so it's really hard to see at this angle, but at the end of this rod, there's a clip that holds the rod onto the pedal. All you got to do is lift up on the tag, on the tab, and the clip will slide up and then off. And then you got two 13mm nuts to take off. So let's go ahead and do that first. Alright, so once you get the clips unbolted and get the two nuts out, you've got some finagling to do. But it will come out. Alright guys, so here's a tip. This is held on by U-bolt, and I didn't even know that. I thought they were just studs that were part of the part, but if you just slide the U-bolt out, it's going to be a whole hell of a lot easier to get out. I already have my line going to the transmission cut where I pulled the old V6 and T5 out, but if yours is still connected, obviously you'll have to disconnect the hydraulic line going to the transmission. But we'll pull this hose off for the reservoir, and this goes to the trash bin. Alright guys, I've got the reservoir hooked up to the new clutch master cylinder, and I'm going to go ahead and bench bleed this before I put it on. I'm not going to show you the process because it's going to be difficult to do with both hands, and I need one hand to record. But basically what I'll do is I'll fill the reservoir up with brake fluid, and I'll use a screwdriver to depress the end while I pump the rod to let all the air out. So it'll probably take a few times to get all the air out, but you'll be able to get it pretty close. Then of course we'll do a final bleed once I have everything installed, just to make sure there's no air in the system. So let's go ahead and pop this baby in. Alright, so I got the new clutch master cylinder pushed in, so we'll go ahead and get back inside, and we'll attach our two bolts. Alright guys, so we got everything, we got the master cylinder bolted in. Now what I'm going to do with this bracket is I bent it a little bit when I was taking the old one off. You want to be careful, be really careful with this, because it's kind of a pain doing this by yourself as it is. But when this is twisted, it makes life a lot more difficult. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Dremel and slot these holes. That way I can just back these bolts out a little bit and slide it on, then bolt everything back in. But I'll do that off camera. So what we're going to do next is go ahead and thread our rod on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it about halfway down for right now, and connect it to the pedal, and then I'll get underneath the car and attach the line, and we'll start our bleeding process from there. And then once we get everything bled, we can do the final adjustments and get everything snugged down. Alright, and now we've got the rod hooked up, and I've got the pedal set at about the halfway mark. I've got it just to where the pedal stays up. Once I have it bled, I'm gonna do some final adjustments, and we're also gonna have to probably adjust our clutch switch. So now we'll get underneath the car and hook our line up. Alright guys, I got the clutch line hooked up, and the transmission came with the quick bleed, so I've got it ran out underneath the car. And since I'm doing this by myself, what I'm going to do is pump up the clutch pedal just like you would pumping up brakes, then hold them to the floor and let air out until I get all the air out. So let me do that and we'll start getting this thing adjusted and dialed in. Alright guys, so I got the clutch bled and I've got it adjusted down to where it disengages when it's pressed to the floor. I got it set as low as I could get it. I wanted to keep the stroke as short as possible in order to have quicker shifting. So let's test this thing out and see what it does. Alright guys, here goes nothing. I need to adjust the starter. Alright, I've got the clutch engaged. It's in first gear, nothing moving. We'll go ahead and disengage. Alright, it's moving, guys. Everything felt pretty good. It's grinding a little bit going into gear. I'm gonna check the fluid and make sure I have enough fluid. It might be also me, I don't know. Everything felt good though.